Please welcome our presenting sponsor, Lori Baldock, Fort Worth Market President for Simmons Bank.
It's my life, it's now or never, but I ain't gonna live forever. I just wanna live.
Good afternoon, Fort Worth. Simmons Bank is proud to be the presenting sponsor of today's State of the City address. For more than 120 years, Simmons Bank has taken great pride in investing in the communities we call home, especially right here in Fort Worth and beautiful Dickies Arena. Just like a great production requires a strong cast and crew, building a thriving city requires committed partners. Our role at Simmons Bank is to support the people, businesses, and neighborhoods that make Fort Worth such a standout on the big screen of Texas cities. Partnering with the Chamber of Commerce and business community, providing capital for new neighborhoods and commercial growth, supporting small business owners with resources and expertise, and volunteering with educational agencies that prepare the workforce of tomorrow. And much like Fort Worth's growing role in the film and television industry, Simmons Bank is proud to play a part behind the scenes, helping set the stage for economic growth and community success. Speaking of leading roles, Fort Worth itself has become a star of the show. We are now, I think Steve said earlier, the 10th largest city, is that official? Yep, in the United States, home to more than 1 million people. That's no small feat, and it speaks to the strength, resilience, and opportunity that draw families and businesses to Fort Worth every day. And at the center of this story is Mayor Mattie Parker. Re-elected for a third term earlier this year, Mayor Parker has led one of America's fastest growing cities since 2021. She's focused on the fundamentals of city government and improving the quality of life for every Fort Worth resident, championing smart investments in public safety, infrastructure, and economic development. Some of her box office hits include launching the Good Natured Initiative, which you heard about last year, to enhance and preserve Fort Worth's green spaces and parks, convening the Tarrant County Maternal and Infant Health Coalition to improve access and quality care and resources for mothers and babies in our region. Mayor Parker is a graduate of UT Austin and Texas A&M Law, a licensed attorney and founding CEO of Fort Worth Cradle to Career and the T3 Partnership. She and her husband, David, are proud parents of 3. And now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming our feature presentation, your Mayor, Mattie Parker.
I'm gonna leave it all out there to dry. I'm gonna leave it all out there.
Let's do it. Thank you.
I'm gonna leave it all out there to dry up. I'm gonna leave it all out there.
Thank you, Fort Worth. I appreciate you very much. You're in for a great program today. Sergeant Dana Stevenson grew up dreaming about being a police officer from the time he was a young child. He watched Barney Miller, Dick Tracy, and Dragnet and thought, I want to do that. And so, more than 25 years ago, he did. He retired from the U.S. Navy and soon joined the Fort Worth Police Department. As his family grew, he taught his children about what inspired him, about making a difference in serving the community. Their mom, by the way, also worked for the Tarrant County Sheriff's Department when they were growing up. A family completely committed to public service. And so it's really no surprise that today their 2 sons are also police officers. And on July 31st, something truly special happened right here in our Fort Worth Police Department West Division. Sergeant Dana Stevenson and Officer Kobe Stevenson had the rare and inspiring opportunity to answer calls together, side by side. This wasn't just about working a shift together. It was about a story of legacy and a shared calling to serve and protect.
a father guiding his son, not just in life, but in career too. For young Officer Stevenson, it was a chance to stand shoulder to shoulder with the man who inspired him to wear the badge. They are here with us today, along with their son and brother, Officer Antoine Stevenson, who is a police officer with Keller PD. Please thank them both, all three, for being here. I love their story because to me it speaks to the heart of the Fort Worth community. It's a community where tradition and commitment to give back and pride in who all of us are. Today I want to share not just updates, but stories. Stories worth telling. Stories that define who we are and who we're becoming. After all, a great city is not just built on roads and bridges and buildings, but it is built on the stories of its people. See, here in Fort Worth, our stories are woven together, stories of families who have been here for generations, or our new neighbors who recently made Fort Worth home. Stories of businesses, entrepreneurs, teachers, and our first responders. Today, we celebrate Fort Worth, a city where stories aren't just told, but they truly come to life. We recently surpassed 1 million residents, and another reason to celebrate such a significant milestone, but honestly, it comes with significant responsibility. Because in Fort Worth, this is our defining moment of growth and opportunity, and I truly know that it is imperative that we are advancing smart policies, smart investments, and smart planning so that our city is set up for success long into the future. The City of Fort Worth and our City Council and our management team who are with us here today, please stand for a moment to be recognized, and thank you all for your incredibly hard work. We take this responsibility very seriously, and you should too. You have a responsibility, and your attention is also needed. I invite all of you to attend a Fort Worth City Council meeting and find ways to engage, because what happens on Tuesdays at City Council really does matter. Just last month, the City Council passed our fiscal year 2026 budget. Our number one job at the City of Fort Worth is budget planning and making sure the city has what it needs to run well today and tomorrow. Here's what you should know that we prioritized in this budget. We're specifically prioritizing economic development, community investment, public safety, infrastructure, and responsible growth. We've increased our budget this year, but most of it is all in accounts for moving our EMS system into the Fort Worth Fire Department from MedStar, quickening response times and quality of care for all of our residents across the city and Tarrant County member cities. Perhaps most importantly, we've raised the budget without raising your taxes. We continue to be an example of a city that is growing rapidly while also maintaining the highest level of fiscal responsibility. Bottom line, as a city grows and we're thoughtfully evolving our budget and our revenue streams to meet the needs of this city and our community to ensure the highest quality of life for every resident in every single zip code. High quality of life means more than great reliable streets and roadways. And one area where we're doubling down is homelessness solutions for our residents. Last May, the city branded a new program in its array of efforts to reduce homelessness. We call it High Impact, which aims to address the intersection of mental health and unsheltered homelessness. 1 year into the pilot, our results are very encouraging. 80 clients are receiving services and from a high-level medical and psychiatric team, and 76 clients are currently housed in these programs. This is one of the most critical issues facing every large city in the United States. And yes, we still have much work to do. But Fort Worth is truly leading the way, leading our nation as we tackle homelessness through innovative solutions. The discussion of homelessness often feels impersonal, but we are talking about human beings who are in extreme crisis. No one no one living on the streets is well. And it is very critical that we continue our focus and momentum around this issue. One story I think is worth telling is about my new friend, AC, who, by the way, is here today with us. He's one of the first residents to call Casa de Esperanza home in 2020. For those of you who don't know, Casa de Esperanza is one of Fourth Housing Solutions' permanent supportive housing communities right here in our city. See, growing up, AC farmed with his family to put food on the table. He played basketball in high school and worked in construction and landscaping. Then AC chose a different path, and he ended up in our homeless system, camping and living at Presbyterian Night Shelter, before finding Casa de Esperanza in 2020. At Casa, residents started requesting raised garden beds, and it became obvious that AC had the passion and green thumb to make a garden thrive. He maintained a day job at a local landscaping company and also personally ensured the crops at Casa were all perfectly maintained. As Fourth Housing Solutions planned a community garden in their Stop 6 choice neighborhood, it was clear that AC was the perfect and only candidate to be the full-time farmer. And since joining the organization in May, AC has harvested his first season of crops, leads gardening classes across the community, and delivers his harvest to Cowan Senior Living for residents to have fresh produce. Now that's a story worth telling. There are countless additional highlights of how the City of Fort Worth is supporting its residents, but Fort Worth's public safety focus stands out as our most vital effort. The Fort Worth Police Department continues to be one of the best departments in the entire country, thanks to the combination of community-based initiatives, innovative technology, and increased investment in our police officers. In September, we welcomed Chief Eddie Garcia to the Fort Worth Police Department after a nationwide search. With a proven record of building trust, transparency, and team morale, Chief Garcia brings the leadership needed to energize our officers and strengthen community ties. Violent crime does continue to decline across the city of Fort Worth, and in 2025, we've seen that difference made. The department is currently on track to be fully staffed by 2026. Chief is already working on a Crime Plan 2.0, a forward-thinking initiative to ensure residents and our visitors are safe, while also improving how we respond to incidents across the community. We are all very excited about the path ahead with Chief Garcia. And this summer, after months of hard work, very hard work, and careful collaboration, the City of Fort Worth also began a new chapter in high-quality emergency services and patient-centric care. We've established an EMS system within the Fort Worth Fire Department and welcomed more than 600 MedStar first responders to the City of Fort Worth team. This transition helped us prepare for our future, prioritizing EMS under the city's operations, and we'll do several things. Number one, improve response times by up to 5.5 minutes across all 350 square miles in the City of Fort Worth. Improve our 911 system, starting with the consolidation of fire and EMS communications, and very importantly, ensure a more financially sustainable EMS system. Fort Worth is known as a leader in emergency response across the entire state of Texas. One powerful story worth telling. Fort Worth Fire and Police first responders immediately jumped into action to support the rescue and recovery efforts as horrific flooding ripped through the Texas Hill Country this summer. More than 20 of your personnel were on the ground beginning July 4th. For weeks, they supported swift water rescues, search operations, vehicle rescues, and recovery missions. Whether it's the Fort Worth Fire Department, our EMS personnel, or our police department, our first responders are men and women who day in and day out answer the call when our residents need them most. I would also like to specifically today take a moment to recognize one very special first responder, firefighter Caleb Halverson, who just last month, without hesitation, jumped into action to fight a residential fire when a garage collapsed on him. He was transported to Parkland Hospital, where he was treated for significant injuries. At the same time, Caleb's wife, Haley, was already caring for their newborn baby in the NICU at a different hospital. This community rallied behind the Halverson family. And after 34 days in the Parkland burn unit and more than 100 days in the NICU, I am delighted to say that Caleb and his new baby are now home with Haley. We ask that you continue to support their amazing family in our prayers because they have a long road of recovery ahead. But today we deserve to celebrate their good news. I actually caught a great story on NBC National News last night about the Halverson family. Thank you to the Fort Worth Fire Department for continuing to show up for community and supporting the Halverson family. This Fort Worth City Council also honored another hero this summer by unanimously passing a resolution to rename the South Division Police Headquarters for our fallen officer, Sergeant Billy Randolph. The Billy Randolph South Division Headquarters will forever honor Sergeant Randolph's 30 years of dedicated service, his leadership, and his sacrifice to us all. Incredible, incredible honor for Sergeant Randolph. You may remember Lisa was here last year as one of our unsung heroes, his wife. Switching gears, for the 4th year running, our Where Achievement event begins came to Fort Worth again. 300 students across 12 districts who earned an associate's degree, a career credential, or internship experience in addition to their high school's diplomas. You can see this picture behind me. The only thing that went wrong was the confetti ended up in the roof of Casa Manana, and it required quite a bit of ingenuity to get the confetti out, but the 300 kids had a great time no matter what. So why do I talk about this event? Why do these issues matter to you, especially those of us in this room? Young adults who do not earn a certification, a credential, or a degree within 6 years of high school graduation only have a 12% chance of earning a living wage. 12% chance. So let's look across the city of Fort Worth at every district where we are today. Here's a snapshot. Students met grade level standards 37% of the time on the state of Texas STAR exams for the 2024-2025 academic year, a 2 percentage point increase from the previous year. And here you can see what trends in every subject across the entire city have looked like since 2019. This is where our students are. It may be a stark reality, but importantly, a great story worth telling is that this community has responded with a tremendous amount of work in the last 5 years around education. We are absolutely headed on the right path. I see it every single day. This year saw the opening of 3 new early college high school programs, giving students the chance to earn associate's degrees before graduation. Castleberry and HEB opened their first programs, while Birdville ISD added a second. In total, more than 6,500 local students graduated with college credit from TCC's dual credit program in 2025. New Heights Adult High School, you can clap for that, that's great. Did TCC start the clapping? Be honest. Okay. New Heights Adult High School opened in Stop 6 last fall, offering free high school diplomas and workforce credentials for adults 18 to 50. It ended the year with nearly 800 individuals enrolled and 1,200 more on the waiting list. So thanks to, yes. If you haven't been to New Heights, it's amazing, and you're gonna get a second chance because thanks to Fort Worth ISD, a second campus opens next week in Southwest Fort Worth. Proof of what's possible when Tarrant County College, Fort Worth ISD, New Heights, and our philanthropic partners who've all come together to make this a reality. When you talk to the students, many of them will tell you they're going back to school to inspire their children, and I think that's a story worth telling. Our community has also never been more focused than today around literacy. Literacy for all. This summer, the City of Fort Worth and our Literacy Roundup program, in partnership with Sid Richardson Foundation and Go Beyond Grades, screened more than 400 children for dyslexia and literacy challenges at our area community centers. This is a first-of-its-kind effort through our Parks and Recreation departments, connecting families with vital resources and school support. Our friend George here, you can see in this photograph, recently joined a Fort Worth City Council meeting to celebrate this milestone. Maybe one day George will be your mayor. He was a great kid to come visit us at council. I also got the opportunity to visit M.L. Phillips Elementary School on the first day of school. It was electric. There were students and teachers buzzing around the campus with all this excitement for first day of school. Yes, a few tears, but mostly from the moms with kindergarten kids going to campus. But I mention it because this school jumped from a F to a B in one school year. The success story of M.L. Phillips Elementary School is what it looks like when entire communities and local leadership work together hand in hand alongside our schools to improve outcomes, focusing on student success. These are real and significant results. And what we're seeing is what's possible in our school district. Dr. Karen Molinar has shown tremendous leadership in this past year. Give her a round of applause. She and the board have taken on very tough challenges, and the data does show meaningful progress in both literacy and math. 40 campuses across Worth ISD increased by 1 full letter grade in just 1 year. But we all understand we have a tremendous way to go. Commissioner Mike Morath's decision on potential state intervention is imminent. And our role as a community is clear, that no matter the outcome, we have to stand ready to rally around whatever the decision is, support Dr. Molinar where needed, and continue to step up for our kids in Fort Worth ISD. It's our job to champion all of our schools in every single district across the city of Fort Worth. Everyone in this room has a story about your own education journey. For me, one of my favorite teachers growing up was Mr. Keith Elrod, who truly made a difference in my life. See, Mr. Elrod was an accountant turned math teacher and then debate coach and bus driver. We're from a small town. He had to do it all. But he had a profound impact on my life. We are incredibly fortunate in the city of Fort Worth to have amazing teachers and instructors just like Mr. Elrod, who go above and beyond to make their students' lives shine. I had the privilege of visiting a few schools earlier this month to surprise 3 particular rock star teachers for this year's Unsung Hero Award. How are you? I'm Maddie. Nice to meet you.
Wait, like the mayor?
I'm the mayor.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Nice to meet you. Every year I pick people in our community that we call unsung heroes. Y'all know what that means? People that don't get enough credit, but to do really amazing things in our city and do it quietly because they love Fort Worth and they love their kids or their students. This year, you're one of my awardees. And it's really because of being an amazing educator. You wake up every single day thinking about students and their futures. You don't have to do that job. I've had folks that really, in my opinion, don't get enough recognition in the community. You're gonna make me cry totally looking at you. And I think for right now, I wanted to recognize teachers that are doing amazing things. I love this school district. I'm so proud of what y'all are doing. And every year you blow me away, truly. Fort Worth ISD Elementary Teacher of the Year, Miss Sarah Herrera, creates a classroom at Dolores Huerta Elementary School where students feel ownership, stability, and belonging, especially important with those facing challenges at home. Miss Dolce Luna, an AP Spanish teacher at Castleberry ISD, who consistently leads exceptional exam results while sponsoring National Honor Society and supporting early college recruitment and after-school mentoring through EF Tour programs. And Mr. Sean Smuck of Keller ISD, who builds career pathways to the district's engineering internship program, partnering with Lockheed Martin, Bell, and Westwood, all here in the city of Fort Worth. These are stories worth telling. Please give Mr. Schmuck, Ms. Luna, and Ms. Herrera, who are all here today, a huge round of applause for everything you do for our students in our community. Now stand up. They don't want to stand up. And especially thank you for letting me surprise you and come into your campuses. It was a lot of fun. Leadership is about accepting hard truths and acknowledging where we fall short. Tarrant County has the second highest maternal mortality rate for Black mothers in the entire state of Texas. And the infant mortality rate in the city's 76104 zip code is significantly higher than the rate in neighboring zip codes. Too many mothers in our community risk their lives just to give birth. These realities are staggering, and as a community, we understand we must be better for our moms and babies. 3 years ago, I first convened the Tarrant County Maternal and Infant Health Coalition to ensure that the right leaders were at the table helping us create solutions. Sadie Funk and Sarah Reddington, who you heard from earlier at Best Place, have been leading this work from day one. And Rose Bradshaw with North Texas Community Foundation was the first call I made. Because Rose believed in our mission, this work multiplied. Today, I am proud to share that we're seeing real, lasting impact. Some important accomplishments are listed behind me, but let me highlight just one that captures how the Ann Burnett Marion School of Medicine at TCU is setting a national standard for healthcare innovation. Consider this. Research shows just one iron pill a day can decrease the need for blood transfusions during childbirth by 1/3. So, the most effective thing you can do to effectively reduce the risk of a blood transfusion is to simply hand a mom a bottle of iron supplements at her prenatal appointment. Just this year, TCU has distributed 10,000 bottles of prenatal iron through 50 clinics and community sites across North Texas, using cutting-edge data to reach the mothers most at risk for needing a transfusion. It's a common sense, data-driven, and it's rooted in community partnerships. Exactly the kind of solution that will finally change outcomes and save lives. In fact, because of this work, this year, the TCU Medical School led a large coalition to win the largest outcomes-based program grant in the world on behalf of our growing North Texas Maternal Health Coalition. This progress is thanks to the tremendous leadership of Dr. Stuart Flynn at TCU and Cameron Combs of CPAL in Dallas, along with countless clinical leaders at our area hospitals, dozens of partners in Tarrant County and across North Texas. And truly, it is because of our philanthropic community that continues to step up, who have committed almost $25 million to support our most vulnerable mothers and babies across North Texas. Thank you all so much. This is a story of hope and innovation and extreme generosity, and I'm very grateful to each and every person involved that's helped make this work happen. In 1974, the great Jimmy Stewart painted a beautiful picture of growing Fort Worth, and I think that it's more relevant to our city than ever. Let's take a look.
It seems to me the people of this city have found a way of life that comes closer to what most of us would like to have than any other place I know of. So there it sits, high on a bluff above the twin forks of the Trinity River, where it can never lose sight of its past and can see its future forever. Fort Worth, the unexpected city.
It's always good to hear Jimmy Stewart's voice. Yes, our story has always been about growth and sustainability and preservation, but it's also about being forward-thinking. What's next to maintain the high quality of life that this city cherishes, that city high on the bluff of the Trinity River? 2 years ago, along with the Tarrant Regional Water District, we launched a bold vision to protect and preserve at least 10,000 acres of land by 2028 through the Good Natured Initiative. Green Space champion Allison Docker at the City of Fort Worth has led this charge from the land acquisition standpoint. And we've already secured 3,000 acres of land with another promising 2,500 forthcoming, on track to meet our goal with the support of our generous partners, bond dollars, and creative policies. Along with Allison, we have plenty of characters doing the work, like Dr. Jared Wood. Jared calls himself an educated cowboy, and for good reason. As our leader at the Fort Worth Nature Center, Jared exudes a deep passion for green space, wildlife, ecosystems, and fossils, and most importantly, he's driven by a desire to leave Earth better than he found it, creating a lasting legacy for his wife and daughter, our city's future, and yes, a few alligators too. Spanning more than 3,600 acres of forests, prairies, and wetlands, the Fort Worth Nature Center is home to wildlife, including alligators, bison, and prairie dogs. With enthusiasm and expertise, Jared brings the land to life, educating visitors about the natural heritage as well as an incredible wildlife that all call the Nature Center home. Stories like Jared's are at the very heart of our city and the kind of stories that remind us who we are and what we're building. One of our greatest stories is our city's economic future. Over time, Fort Worth has transformed into a hub of industry and innovation. From the cattle business to the railroad to energy and manufacturing and defense, these industries have fueled our prosperity and put Fort Worth on the map as a place where hard work, bold vision, and innovation truly pay off. These industries have fueled a monumental year for economic development and growth in Fort Worth, thanks to our robust incentive programs and efforts by the city and the Fort Worth Economic Development Partnership. In fiscal year 2025 alone, we've secured $6.7 billion in new capital investment and nearly 7,000 new jobs. The return on these deals is very clear. They are well-paying jobs that allow people to build their lives here in Fort Worth. A much more diversified economy that can weather downturns and, of course, global disruptions, and a stronger commercial tax base to reduce that burden on our area residents. The projects won this year are forecasted to produce $166 million in new taxes for the city over the life of their incentive agreements. Our city manager, Jay Chapa, together with Robert Allen and the Fort Worth EDP team, continue to refine policy to make sure Fort Worth stays competitive while ensuring that every tax dollar invested yields long-term value. And of course, the team here at the Fort Worth Chamber ensures we maintain a smooth handoff, keeping these businesses thriving to years to come. Despite what we think, the Chamber's not always just putting on events. They have a lot of work to do behind the scenes. So shout out to Steve and the entire team. Today, we're seeing a new chapter also take shape in the city of Fort Worth, the film and entertainment industry. This isn't just about blockbuster movies and star power. It's about telling stories that reflect who we are, creating jobs and economic opportunity and higher education pathways for our residents and our businesses. Let's take a look.
In Fort Worth, film isn't just made, it's shared. Under the Texas sky, stories come alive and bring us together. Here, the magic of cinema is woven into the heart of our community, where every story has a place on the small screen and large.
Right here is where all its treasures are gonna crisscross, going east and west and north and south. Fort Worth.
For generations, Fort Worth has captured the imagination with film crews showcasing its dynamic locations, character, and unmistakable charm.
Bill, when you were a kid growing up in Fort Worth, Texas, is this what you aspired to do?
It was. I made a lot of Super 8 films. My dad took me to all the movies downtown at the Worth and the Hollywood Theater. It ended up being what I wanted to spend my life trying to create.
In 2015, Visit Fort Worth and city leaders launched the Fort Worth Film Commission, a dedicated effort to support and attract film, television, and commercial productions. By promoting the city, streamlining the process, and opening doors, the Film Commission helps make creative dreams come true while truly growing our economy.
And I firmly believe that supporting the creative class in this city, making us a destination for film and television production, will absolutely set Fort Worth apart.
But it isn't just star power that fueled film production in Fort Worth. Grit, hard work, collaboration, and the determination of our people make a difference. From film crews to local businesses, the city came together to welcome productions and prove Fort Worth is truly film friendly. In the last decade, the film industry has delivered nearly $1 billion impact on Fort Worth, creating more than 50,000 jobs. Higher education is helping create even more opportunities.
Taylor Sheridan already has a successful partnership with Tarrant Community College. 100% of the students coming out of that program are employed and getting employed. Jobs like electricians, lighting, construction, set designers, decorators, hair, makeup, a workforce that we can expand and scale right here in Texas, so more Texans have more jobs.
Today, the film industry is a big business with a new wave of shows written and directed by Fort Worth's own Taylor Sheridan. The new SGS Studios in Fort Worth's Alliance development is now the largest operating production campus in Texas and home to many of Sheridan's most popular productions. Throughout the years, Fort Worth has maintained its independent spirit by also supporting productions like The Chosen, 12 Mighty Orphans, and Miss Juneteenth, and welcoming filmmakers from around the world for Lone Star Film Festival and Oscar-qualifying theatrical releases. Fort Worth is a city that says yes to opportunity, to creativity, and to growth. With new incentives, more jobs, and thriving local business, our stories continue to come alive on screens everywhere.
If the picture did pretty well in Texas, you were in pretty good shape, and it would do well in other parts of the country and the world.
We believe that film is truly the next great industry in Fort Worth. Just like cattle, railroads, energy, manufacturing, and defense, it will become a part of the enduring economic development story that defines our city's future. I've been on many of these local sets, and from Tim McGraw to Billy Bob Thornton to the grips and the crew behind the scenes, I continue to hear that our hospitality is what sets Fort Worth apart. None of this would be possible without the work of the Fort Worth Film Commission, which has been working and advocating for the industry to attract new productions to our city for over a decade. I was privileged to be involved in the organization's efforts as a board member since its inception. 10 years later, the bold vision from Red Sanders, Mitch Whitten, Tom Martins, Jessica Hill, Taylor Hardy, and Betsy Price have truly put Fort Worth on the map as a film and entertainment destination. Let's give one more round of applause for 10 years. It's a story worth telling, and in a moment we'll turn a conversation to spotlight more about film in Fort Worth. But here's what I want you to be thinking about. I consider one of my roles as mayor to be an ambassador and storyteller for the city that we all love. Each of you has a Fort Worth story. What makes you proud to call this place home? And I would like to hear it. You can submit your own story to the link on the screen and help me tell more Fort Worth stories worth telling. Here's one more. David and I moved to Fort Worth 17 years ago. He likes to tell the story that I was coming from Austin and in Arlington before I came to Fort Worth, but that's just a small detail. But we knew this place was special. We have built businesses and careers in this city, and we're raising our children here, largely because of the amazing people in this room. In 2021, I first ran for mayor because our family felt strongly that this was our season of public service to give back to the home that we love. What we give to this place continues to give back to us tenfold. People in our community have shown up for us time and time again, no matter the circumstance. From neighbors to friends jumping in, last minute sometimes to pick up boys from a practice, baseball or basketball or football, to the excellence of our medical community, who recently, over the last year, have helped my mom and I navigate a really difficult diagnosis for my father with Alzheimer's, and he's doing so well thanks to UNT Health, and specifically Dr. Janice Knable. To lifelong friends, many of you in this room who provide the support to keep it all going. This is what makes this place so special. It's you. It's our people. Thank you for making it my story. Thank you.
Please welcome David Glasser, CEO of 101 Studios, and Marc Istook of WFAA.
Good afternoon, or if you're a morning news anchor, good evening. It is a pleasure to be up here sharing the stage with you guys today and a chance to talk about the great things happening in Fort Worth and specifically in economic development as it pertains to the entertainment industry and the film and TV production we've seen here. As a sixth generation Fort Worth native, it makes my heart swell to see so many of you here in the audience today. So thank you guys for your attendance and your attention for this time. And it was pretty cool to watch some of the video clips that you shared. And one line kind of stood out to me, and I wondered if it's almost the theme for our conversation. And it was that Fort Worth is a city that says yes. And David, I'll start with you on the left. Do you feel like that's been your experience since you have lived and worked here in Fort Worth? How have you seen that?
I mean, absolutely. I think that's the reason why we're able to get as much done as we can, because I've experienced, filming everywhere that you could imagine. This city just opens the door, whether it is crew, local city officials, police department, fire department, local residents. I mean, as you know, we come into neighborhood communities and we literally, unfortunately, slightly disrupt traffic and various things like that. And we have just seen this unbelievable sort of community, both on the official side and on the resident side, to just say, yes, we want you here. We want to be part of this, and how can we help grow that business?
And half this audience may have been in Landman as an extra.
Exactly, that's a good thing. We got more seasons to come. So it's a great opportunity to be able to do something like that. That's why I love it here. That's why I live here. It's because of that opportunity that you get.
But Mayor Parker, you're in a position where I imagine sometimes a no might be easier. What is it about the yes that is so important?
Well, I think we learned a lot when that's why the emphasis today on film production and how important the Fort Worth Film Commission was, because 10 years ago, I remember Jessica Hill kind of, not lecturing, but kind of giving us an understanding of how important it was to build a foundation of support through Visit Fort Worth, through the chamber, through the city. People like Dana Bergdorf who said, okay, how can we reform things inside the city hall to make it easier to get permits? Your police department that you mentioned, they've been incredibly supportive, but y'all have given back hosting lunches. We knew that if we wanted to be competitive in Texas, this was before incentives were where they are now, we had to be really scrappy, and we also needed to be the very best in Texas, which has now built a foundation that's led to the largest production studio in the state of Texas, and now bringing additional film opportunities here to Fort Worth. And then specifically around why yes, because the yes also is such an economic positive impact to area businesses, dry cleaners, restaurants, caterers, future job prospects. All of that really leads to an industry, but we had to get that foundation right from the beginning.
David, I'm just curious, how many film or TV projects do you currently have in development production or post at the moment, if you could ballpark it?
I mean, we're probably about it right now. We'll have about 16 shows this year across the board, probably about 8 movies, 9 movies, depending. And a big chunk of those are here in Fort Worth. You know, we have great stages, we have great crews. Yeah, I think we were talking about this earlier, but what most people don't realize is you have the incredible stars at the top of a show. And sometimes there's 6 or 8 or 10 people at the top of a show. But there's 350 people below that make the show work. Those are the construction workers. Those are the drivers. Those are the people that cut the clothes, make the clothes, design everything. A show doesn't happen without that. And Taylor and I always have the philosophy that we treat our crew as if they are stars. Because at the end of the day, they're responsible for making that show. And it's an incredible group here. We use the same crews here. If you haven't noticed, you come to our sets. It's the same transpo, it's the same group, and everybody comes together. And that's what they do. It's a community. And you gotta remember, we become, because we're together for 4, 6, 8 months together on a show, and you come together as a family, and then you take a little break, and then you come back again, because TV is a repetitive business. So sometimes our Yellowstone family's been together for 10 years, 12 years. And now I can say Fort Worth is officially the home to the new series Yellowstone, which is exciting.
So we live near Forest Park, where Lioness has been shooting this week, so I feel like I've been an extra, because the trucks have been there, the crews have been there, and it is unbelievable when you think to shoot a simple scene, the sheer volume of people, and to see it firsthand is cool, and to think that every one of those individuals has taken home a salary here in Fort Worth is pretty awesome. But we talked about this earlier. Obviously, we're here in Fort Worth with this crowd. I want you to throw a little red meat to some of the folks. Given all the notable Hollywood stars that you have hosted that have been through town, what have they said they've liked the most about their time here?
I think I hear consistently from our stars, it's about the people. You know, they're in Hollywood. And so they always say when you come to Texas here, and I've heard this from several of our stars, a yes means yes, a no means no, and a handshake means something. And to me, that's what Fort Worth stands for, and that's why it's great to be here, because our talent, you know, they don't get mobbed, people are respectful here. Try to take them to New York City or other places, it's amazing, but they can't move. You know, Billy Bob will always tell me I can go to the market, I can do things here, because people are respectful. Even if they want a photo, how they ask about it. You know, I've been in cities where talent, they walk up and they bump into them and they push their wife to one side to get a photo. I've been with most of our stars here, whether it's Nicole, Kim, and everything. Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can I get a photo? And I think it's the people. The people of Fort Worth make it so that we can do shows here, respect our talent that we bring to the city, and help us to get the shows done.
Mayor, it's interesting when you watch some of those clips we see before, for a lot of people it feels like this production boom that's taking place is a new thing, but there's a history that goes back of whether it's being a side of shooting or a character in productions where Fort Worth's had a role, but it feels like this one is stickier, like this one's here to last. I remember when Walker, Texas Rangers shot around here, what a big deal it was a number of years ago, but this is just, it feels different. Why do you think that this staying power, this version of the boom has staying power versus other iterations?
I think it's a combination of factors. Number one, COVID changed a lot in the industry. It changed everyone's lives in the country. You saw a mass migration, especially from coastal cities. That's why you've seen a tremendous boom here. It's about quality of life that was no different. David and I have had this conversation with his family, why they decided to relocate from Los Angeles to be here in Fort Worth. That was true of film and television as well. So you started to see a migration of where else do you want to have these major productions? It could be anywhere. Texas has always been a state where they wanted to be. The problem was we were not competitive enough when it came to the incentives, because states like Louisiana, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Georgia were offering things that Texas wasn't offering, and they would go shoot there. And so we knew over the last 3 sessions to advocate differently for the Texas Movie Industry Incentive Fund, and we were successful this year, which was tremendous. Side note was really funny. If anybody in the room, many of you do GR work, you've ever had to sit through a Senate finance hearing, it's usually really stodgy and not very exciting, and they may or may not be paying attention to what's going on. But it was hilarious when you had Taylor Sheridan and Matthew McConaughey, and you had the chairman of the committee taking selfies from the dais. But in all jokes aside, the economic impact and benefit. And we also had Ross Perot Jr. come with us once to really hammer home the importance for Texas economy. That's when you knew it was different and had staying power. And I think that will make a tremendous difference moving forward. And the statistics you saw on the screen, since we started this work in 2015, $1 billion of economic impact and 50,000 jobs, and those are long-lasting jobs. You know, what David didn't tell you is the 300 people that he's talking about, now they're starting to live here. They're moving here, and they're also creating more jobs for people that live in Fort Worth and these other programs we've created. So it has a lot of staying power.
The trickle-down effect of those film incentives, massive when you start to kind of follow the trail. But if you don't have the workforce to pay to do the jobs, then you don't have anything. And David, I know that you guys have been instrumental in helping develop that. And that's a unique position for someone in your role to be able to help shape. What has been most important for you about that initiative, making sure that, hey, you know what, we can have all the dollars we want to spend, all the productions, all the scripts, whatever. If we don't have enough people to staff these shows, we don't have shows.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think that's been one of the biggest things we focus on, and it's a big thing for me and my family. Education is really important, right? And when you say education, it's not just a book about history or geography. Obviously, that's all part of the core curriculum, but it's also about what are you going to do with your career? Where do you want to go and what do you want to do? And so we've been working hand in hand with colleges, with Tarrant County, in building the opportunities, because I have the jobs. We can hire people. I do not right now have enough jobs to fill the shows we have here. If somebody here in this room stood up and said, I could be a makeup artist or a hair artist or a grip or a gaffer, I can literally leave here with you and take you to employment tomorrow. Literally, anybody here, let me know. But the reality is that's a real fact. So we want to, personally, we want to give back to the community and create more jobs, but opportunistically, we can give more jobs to people, which gives back to the community. And that is not always. I've been in cities where they're 6 and 12 and 15 crew deep. You know, you have what we call here about 3 crew, right? So 3 crew is 3 sets of like 300-400, right? And the opportunity here is like 10 to 12. So if you do the math, that's thousands of jobs, not hundreds of jobs. So what we have to do is we have to create curriculums and work with the colleges to bring opportunity to that. Because like Mayor Parker said, we're moving people here. For my own company, just my own company, I've probably moved 15% of my staff here. We will house next year, 101 Studios will move here and move its headquarters here because of the opportunities and what we can do. They come here, they love it, they get a house for a great price, their kids are getting great educations. That's what I hear back from my crew, like, wow, thank you for the opportunity to come here and to get a better way of life and a better opportunity and a better education for their kids. So that you want crew leaving happy, you want them coming home happy. Everybody will work harder if they have a healthier life, and I think that's one of the things that the jobs allow here.
I think what we also see too is that rising tide lifts all boats mentality. So you've got this boom in the film and TV production space. You talked about the educational initiatives, but really higher education in Fort Worth in general, Mayor, between TCU's expansion, all the cranes that you see all the time around University Drive, TCC with the A&M building, Texas Wesleyan, Tarleton, UTA West. I mean, these are a lot of initials that wouldn't have been flying around Fort Worth education space a while ago. It feels like that is essential to continuing this, not just production growth, but economically across the board.
Well, we're incredibly fortunate in Fort Worth and Tarrant County to have these amazing higher education institutions that, yes, they love to compete with each other, but they also recognize they're a part of the same team. And when you have this specific issue in particular around film and television opportunity, they've all risen above to say what can they do to fit and to help the next generation of workforce. And we're also thinking even deeper into area high schools and all 12 school districts in Fort Worth and across Tarrant County. So again, that would be an indie industry. I mean, I have close relationships with all those universities. Many of their leadership is here today, and how fortunate we are to have them all investing billions of dollars from UTA West to downtown Texas A&M to TCU, all of them. And David's gotten to know their leadership as well, trying to push it forward. I think about Red Sanders. I don't know if Red's here today. He was a graduate from TCU. When I first met Red, he would say, man, I would have given anything coming out of TCU to just stayed right here. But he started his career in LA and then came home to try to build his studio. Now, if you're a Red Sanders graduated from TCU or Wesleyan or A&M, you get to stay right here. And you can go work for someone like David Glasser and learn from some of the very best in the business, which is really exciting.
Well, and maybe you can do it at the SGS studios by Alliance, because again, when you talk about staying power, that's hardcore infrastructure that you're not investing in if you don't have a long tail look at this, David. And I'm curious, with that space, and you talked about the number of productions that you feel like you could staff here if you had enough people for it. It really is not just thinking 1, 3, 5 years down the road. I mean, this is a decades-long vision.
Yeah, no, Taylor and I are working hand in hand with Ross Pro Jr. and Mike Berry, and the Hillwood teams have been incredible, in that growth. And they're incredible partners because, we obviously know the business, we know what we need, but they are incredible community and office and planning builders and visionaries. So we did that for a long-term play. That's a 10, 15-year minimum commitment. Campus One, which is what you've seen up right now, which is the largest in Texas, is fully occupied at 400,000 square feet. And we don't have enough right now. So we are currently in the middle of the planning stages for what will be probably 5 to 8 times that facility, which will include everything. And the difference in the stages that we're going to do here and the opportunities is not just stages and buildings, but a big part of the nucleus of the campus will house an education center, and it will also, which will be basically like a job occupation center, as well as housing all of the big companies who are going to come here and have a home. Cinelise, Bruce's Catering, trucking companies, everything. Mm-hmm. And it's not just for us. It will be for everybody else who's coming here, because companies like Netflix and Amazon and Hulu are all looking to expand their base and looking for that opportunity to bring jobs to places. So the growth is not just in us. The growth is in, I get calls all the time, and us in the Hillwood team, do you guys have space for other companies? Unfortunately, we don't. But we want to create that opportunity to grow. So that commitment is long-term. We're not looking for the next couple of years. We're looking 15, 20 years out.
You and I were talking a little bit earlier, David. We both have lived in Los Angeles for long periods of time, and look, the weather's great. Getting around, not so much. You want to get from LAX to anywhere, it's an hour, even if it's next door. Here, you've got your studios, you're by Alliance, you're not far from DFW Airport. It feels like the infrastructure makes a lot of things easier that is surrounded by friction in Los Angeles. I'm curious for you, Mayor Parker, what are some of the things that have benefited this growth that maybe the layperson wouldn't see?
Moving the industry here to Fort Worth,
yeah.
Other than jobs. But I also think it's fascinating to me to have the level of intellect that comes with a group of people that are now wanting to be a part of the Fort Worth community. I mean, maybe y'all have not gotten to see David, he's been a little bit busy now, but his whole team is really invested in Fort Worth and helping us think differently. And let's be honest, cities like Los Angeles, we love LA, we want them to be successful, but they are struggling right now. And so what do you learn from a large city? And for Fort Worth, we're a city of 1 million people, and we need to act like it, right? We didn't have time today to really talk about all of the innovations and focus we have in transportation infrastructure, but when you have folks that are now invested in your city that have come from these other communities where they've struggled in different issues, it really is absolutely valuable. The second layer of this is just about the numbers. And I'll try to give you a comparison because Lockheed is our stage sponsor today. You're flanked by an F-35 flying to the side of your head, by the way. What if Fort Worth had said no to General Dynamics? What if we hadn't made those investments in partnership originally? Where would we be? The same level of what if we'd said no to film and television? What if we hadn't created this foundation to be able to say yes to studios like 101 and these large productions? It is a huge economic benefit for us to get this right, and you're seeing that now play out in the numbers, which is really exciting.
We're counting down to the World Cup next summer, the world's largest sporting event outside the Olympics, maybe in rivals in terms of numbers and the sheer volume of people that will be here in North Texas and in Tarrant County and Fort Worth specifically. I think we're in for a big awakening. How much of that is opportunity? How much of that is challenge?
Well, first of all, we're very fortunate because all of North Texas, every municipality, every jurisdiction, we're all planning carefully and working together. We're going to host 9 games in North Texas, the most of any city in North America, which is incredibly exciting. I joke with Jim Ross, but I'm a little serious. The only thing I'm worried about is him chaining himself to the front of Cowboy Stadium when it has to say Dallas Stadium on top. But it is all of us working together to make this work. And to your point, it's 4 or 5 Super Bowls in economic impact and development. Your city here in Fort Worth, working really closely with on our sports tourism side and Visit Fort Worth, we will market Fort Worth well to make sure that those that are visiting this amazing city see the differences, and it has an economic impact for every small business, every large business, to feel really proud of hosting the games here. And it's incredibly international. I don't know how many of you have ever had the chance to go to a World Cup before. I had the chance in 2006 to go to Germany, having never watched a soccer match in my entire life, and I was fascinated by the experience. It's really formative. So you're gonna get to see that here, and we're gonna have numerous watch parties, both official and unofficial, across the city of Fort Worth. Your city will show out well. And specifically on the marketing piece, I have a good feeling that this man to my left has some great ideas on how to make sure Fort Worth really stands out well as we compete for attention hosting those 9 games.
It has been interesting to see the brand of Fort Worth evolve, whether it's the unexpected city or, where the West begins. You have the ties to Cowtown, but you want to be the modern West. Keeping that kind of Fort Worth ethos as you grow to 1 million people and beyond. I think so much of that stops and starts in the stockyards, and we have seen what was a place that for the longest time was just this fun tourist destination where people would go is having a moment too. And I know, David, you guys have spent a ton of time there and invested there as well. How do you see that growth coinciding with everything else we're experiencing?
It's not like anything else when you have a big city. There are those key things that bring tourism in, right? There's so much here. You have but the Stockyards is sort of the authentic place of it. And Taylor and I's goal and Dan's goal is to keep the authenticity. It's the most important thing of every investment we've made down there, is to keep it authentic and to keep it grounded and to keep it real. That's been what we're doing. If you take something like Cattleman's, don't change what works, don't change the fact of what Marty and Larry's vision and everything was, just make it better, make it more accessible. Take an old parking lot, now make it so that we can have incredible music.
And a lot of people may not know, David, that y'all purchased Cattleman's.
Yeah.
You just finished renovations, yes?
Yep, we just finished a $12.5 million renovation of Cattleman's. So significant investment in really making something pretty spectacular for what is we feel one of the most iconic spots in Fort Worth. And if you come in there, everything is what it was. And really it was Marty and Larry what they wanted to do. Marty was very clear, her dream from the time she bought the place, I think at one time in 1960 or 1970, she said, I want that parking lot one day to be a stage and a place that there can be incredible local bands and music. So it was one of the first things she told me, and then she lectured me not to change her banana pudding. So I said I would never change her banana pudding, and I would build her parking lot. So I did both promises that I gave to Marty. But you'll see a bunch of other stuff that we're rolling out in the Stockyards, and those things will be things that are authentic and grounded for the place that more and more tourists. I mean, look, right, if you look at it, how many people, what is the number through the Stockyards?
11 million people a year visit.
And I think if my stats right, maybe somebody correct me, I think it's like 5.7 million people go to the Eiffel Tower. So if you think about sort of numbers and things like that, it's pretty incredible. And you can see it. I mean, anybody who's been down there on a Thursday or a Friday or Saturday night when we have a 2-hour wait to eat at the restaurant. I love our food there, but that's a long time to wait for a table. But it's great, and I love what's going on down there, and I think the expansion plans that are coming down there will be really exciting, and we're excited to be part of it.
Yeah, and authenticity is really key. There's a line, if you have time to go back and you can Google it and watch that full Unexpected City video that's narrated by Jimmy Stewart. They interview several great characters in Fort Worth, and one of them is Cowboy Steve Mirren. Yeah. And he has a line in there talking about how to save Fort Worth and how to make sure it continues to prosper, and he talks about don't let it ever be plastic. Right? It needs to feel authentic. Yeah. It needs to feel original. You can take the dust off a little bit, but not too much shine. And I think that, to me, the Fort Worth Stockyards has really done that. And obviously special thanks to Majestic, but there are so many great ideas and developers and everyone really pouring into that area that continues to make it a real marquee for the city.
And that's the common theme, right? It's authenticity. Everything Taylor does, if you sort of look at his work, comes from a place of authenticity. So anything that we do, it carries that theme. His whole approach is it's got to be authentic and real and grounded, or I won't do it. Talking about COVID, to come to the city, most people don't realize the city of Fort Worth was one of the first cities to put a production back into production during COVID. And we could do it here. We could do it with the help of the city. 1883 was done right in the heart of everything. we were quarantined, we had people out. If somebody got sick on the show, they were out for at least a minimum of 5 days, most likely 10 days. I mean, it was incredible. And Paramount gave us that support to come here because they thought actually Fort Worth could pull it off with us. And we did. It was incredible. And it was an incredible opportunity. And look what came out of it was something pretty spectacular that really showed off the abilities of a city to rival together at a time where crew and people were calling us up and say, hey, my unemployment is running out. Can I get an advance of my equipment because I'm going to lose, my my loan to my bank. And so Fort Worth, Taylor, myself, and the city sort of came together to put everybody back to work at a time that COVID had really had taken its toll on the business.
The 1883 set was interesting. If you got to see it in person, completely transforming the stockyards. And funny story, you were talking about how stars aren't harassed in Fort Worth. Poor Sam Elliott was absolutely harassed.
Yeah.
And when he was on set in 1883, y'all have never seen so many women lined up for one man. I mean, I'm probably 200 at least lined up, dressed to the gills, ready to take a picture or take Sam Elliott home. I'm not sure which.
I tried for
but
both.
It was good fun. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We are coming up on the end of our time here. I wish we could keep talking because there's so many other topics to cover, but I do want to just add one little thought. Talking about that idea of maintaining the ethos while we grow, and you mentioned the stockyards, the hospitality that I think we've seen develop in the past couple of years, Michelin recognition for Hotel Drover, for Bowie House. Both of those are places that feel very upscale, and yet also you feel like, oh, I'm in Fort Worth. When you can do both, then you're doing it right. So as we wrap up, I want to give both of you kind of one last question to answer for me. And David, this is an important one. I want you to think long and hard about it. What happens in season 2 of Landman? I really need to know where we're picking up.
Well, it's going to be exciting. Speaking of Sam Elliott, all right, Sam Elliott's coming to join us in Landman, which is going to be a lot of fun. But you'll just have to wait and see. We're coming up on the season. I will tell you, if you enjoyed season 1, boy, the Taylor just puts his foot down on the pedal. There's a couple of scripts I got, and I'm like, really? We're going to do that? And he's like, I'm not. You need to figure out how to do it. I just wrote it. But he really puts the pedal down in the metal on the season. So we've got a lot of fun with the season, and we really show off Fort Worth, which is really awesome, and it's a great opportunity to do, and it's a show that continues to grow. I think someone gave me a stat the other day that the new trailer of Landman was like, almost 3 times what it was last season out there in the sense of views. So it's exciting, and I get to see into the crystal ball of what's coming. So there's more in Taylor's vision of new shows and big ideas that are going to come that'll be done right here in Fort Worth. And I truly appreciate the mayor and the entire city and everybody on the Fort Worth city side for the opportunities they give to Taylor and to myself and to all of us, because it really is a great place to be. It's why I live here now, so I love it here.
I was hoping I'd get some spoilers. I mean, everyone in this room can be trusted. We keep it to ourselves, right?
I know, you can't.
Well then, Mayor, the last question, in a year from now, when you're back at this event next year, if you could pick one thing you would like to see different in the city, what would that be?
Yeah, I think I'll focus on education. And I think different can mean a lot of things, but I understand how kind of unsettling it feels, especially with the TEA discussion around Fort Worth ISD. But I hope it's different in a positive way. I've seen so much promise and focus in the positive direction for our schools in Fort Worth. You think about how disruptive COVID was across the United States. We weathered that same storm, but there's nothing more important than making sure that every single student in every single zip code has an excellent opportunity for education. That is the future of our city. Otherwise, what are we sitting here for, right? There will be no chamber. There will not be 1,000 people in Dickey's Arena to celebrate business and economic development. You won't be throwing out numbers of $1 billion and $10 billion. So if we can just focus on what really matters, and for me, it's the students across the city and really serving alongside and supporting wherever I can our educators, that's what I hope is different in a year from now. Awesome.
Guys, let's hear it for David Glasser and Mayor Parker.
Thank you.
I appreciate the conversation, and thank you guys for listening today. It's been fun hanging out.
Thank you.